Hi, this is Zach Meir with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Friday the 30th of August. Starting off with the FTSE 100, which is very close to the resistance line projection there from the end of May. That is heading up to 84.40, which is what we're looking for initially. End of day close above that broadening red triangle, and we're looking for up to 86.40 by the end of next month. On the downside, hoping that we stay on the right side of the recent swing low there, 83.20. Worst case is that we have to head down to the 50-day line again, around 82.30. But at the moment, looking quite set fair with that U-shaped turnaround and holding above the recent resistance at around 83.80. Ideally, we have an end of week close above that particular number. Moving along to the DAX, and here one would expect further gains, and that's what we're getting after the bear trap reversal that we had at the beginning of the month above the broken May resistance line there, 18,600, looking for up to 19,900 or even 20,000 by the end of next month. Obviously a bit of data in the way in terms of what we have next week with the non-farm payrolls, etc. But the longer we stay above 18,600, the better. Worst case is we have to head down to the 50-day line at 18,300, but it looks as though that particular need is hopefully over now. On to the Dow, and here picture looking pretty set fair as well. We've got this market holding above the broken July resistance line there, 41,000. Above that, looking for the top of the rising trend channel from back this time last year, 42,600 or even 700 by the end of next month. Worst case is that we've got to head down to the top of the latest gap there, 40,300. But after that dip that we had on Wednesday, it looks as though that is where the market has found support. Next market is Bitcoin, which has been all over the place in the sense that we had a little break to the upside and we had a little break to the downside, but overall holding just below 60,000 and holding the uptrend line there from October around 58,800. While we're above that, then looking for obviously a retest of 65,000 recent resistance, and still hoping that we'll get 69,000 and that March resistance line by the end of next month. If we do break down, we've got that support line projection there at 52,000, which is a risk given the fact that we're below the 50-day line, which is now starting to fall, and given the way that the RSI at 45 is below neutral 50 and tends to be a leading indicator on the downside if we are below that 50 level. Moving along to gold, which is certainly one of the best markets or best looking markets at the moment. Here you can see that we've got a rising trend channel there from December to the top of the channel there, 26.50, which we're looking for by the end of next month. And we're hoping that we'll stay above the initial August resistance around 25.24 ahead of a move through 2600 to new record highs. Haven't covered the pound for a long time, and feel that that is a point of regret. Here we've got a rising trend channel from March, and a little bull flag here. Looks like a mid-movement consolidation. Top of the channel there heading for 134.50. We're looking for that by the end of next month, especially while we remain on the right side of July resistance at 130.60. But looking particularly strong there. And it's obviously a battle between the interest rate cutting of central banks over the autumn, etc., etc. Moving on to the stocks, starting off with Alba, and here, stock I try and avoid, but at the moment the charting position, not difficult to avoid. We had a gap down there in July, gap higher, so it's a bear trap island reversal. We pushed above the 50-day moving average for the first time since back at the end of March, which is significant, and looking for this market to not only fill the gap up to 0.055, but actually head up to the 200-day moving average and fill a gap up there from back in March by the end of next month. It's a punchy call, but is valid while we hold above the floor of the gap there, 0.0375. Bisichi is next, where we've hit a target. Obviously, I've forgotten about this target, but we've hit a target there, which was the top of that triangle there from the beginning of the year. The level in question of £1.21, an end of day close above that, and we could be looking at retesting January resistance at 150 pence by the end of next month. Ideally, we stay on the right side of the 105, 110 area, as that was resistance on the way down. Moving on to Conroy, where we can see that age is not just a number in terms of the management, but it's also getting helped along, I presume, by gold going through the roof. Initial target here, the top of that falling trend channel from back in October, which we were looking for 9.5 pence. Above that, we're looking for up to 14 pence by the end of next month, especially if we can get more end-of-day closes above the old July peak at 8 pence. Moving on to one of the RNSs of the day from Filtronic, SpaceX in the mix there, which is difficult to not get excited by. We've gapped up today. We've got a rising trend channel there from December, top of the channel there, heading for 102 pence, which we're looking for by the end of next month. And ideally we stay above the 50-day line there at 71 pence in the meantime for that particular situation. Haven't looked at FOG for a long time, Falcon Oil and Gas, and here gap off the low, which can be significant. There's no other signal there really. We're trying to break that trend line there from April around 5.5 pence. If we can clear that line there, then we're looking for potentially a journey up to the 200-day moving average at 7.5 pence by the end of next month. Obviously, we don't want to see anything below 5.25 and the floor of that gap. On to Getech, and here stock we had good feelings about after the gap off the low there. It tends to be a good signal. Bullish divergence there as well, so we just need to break that neckline resistance at 3 pence. Above that, looking for the old December support there, 4.1 pence by the end of next month. But the more end-of-day closes we can get above that 50-day line at 2.5 pence, the better that situation looks. Global Petroleum is next, and here we're slowly making progress. It was a bit of a Mosman type chart, I think, here. We've got a rising 50 and 200-day line, so that means we're quite confident that we can hit or retest the spike levels that the shares like around 0.15, 0.16. The target there on that January resistance line, 0.136. Above that, looking for 0.21 by the end of next month. Obviously, a lot of work to do there, but we are excited by the rising 50 and 200-day lines, which suggests that we'll get a golden cross there sometime in the first 2 weeks of September. Stock of the moment, I suppose today at least, is Helium 1, and here there was a fear that we might have to break down below the rising 50-day line at 1.25 pence, but so far we've not only bounced off that 3 sessions in a row, we've also broken through the 200-day line at 1.43, so an end-of-day close above that. Not only looking to fill the gap up to 1.72 from pre-placing times, but also head up towards 2.5 pence. I presume there can't be another placing so quickly, so hopefully there won't be a rug pull again. There is a risk of a break back below the 50-day line and returning to the placing price if we don't get an end-of-day close back above the top of the gap there at 1.57. But it looks as though we're out of the woods, especially with the RSI above neutral 50 at 52. Jaywing is next, and here the chart looks like a turnaround situation. We've got a Bear Trap Island reversal in progress now with a gap down in May and a gap higher for the end of August. That suggests that the 200-day line and that resistance line there from May at 2.9 pence are on their way. End of day close above that, and we're looking for 4.6 pence at a December resistance line projection by the end of next month. Obviously, we want to stay above that 50-day line at 1.8 pence for the duration. RSI's bounced off neutral 53 times, so that is very encouraging. That's almost like the turnaround in gold. So let's see if Jaywing can deliver the goods. Light Science is next, and here the progress slow but steady, 3 steps up, 2 steps back type of thing, but we've got a rising trend channel there from back in basically this time last year. 5 pence is the top of the channel, and we're looking for that by the end of next month, especially while we remain above recent broken resistance around 3.25 pence on an end of day close basis. Moving on to Mosman, and here the picture still trying to get back above the 50-day line. That's rising there at 0.55. We'd like to see that happen today, ideally. Next hurdle will be 0.64, which is that July resistance line. But overall, looking for up to 0.09 or more by the end of next month, as long as we stay within the rising trend channel there from October, for the channel there at 0.043. On to the last two. First one is Novacyt, which we had a triumph earlier in the month. Here the shares are just closing that gap there at 94.7 pence. End of day close above that and we could be looking to retest the highs 137 pence by the end of next month. Obviously, we've already had our golden cross there, which we had yesterday or the day before, and the key is staying above the floor of the gap there at 90 pence. That's probably a decent line in the sand for those getting involved at this time. Finishing off with UK oil and gas, and here it was interesting that we had 13 red candles there on the pullback from the 9th of August. Yesterday saw the turnaround, and the best thing about that turnaround is that it was done without having to touch the 50-day line, which is a show of strength. Want to see an end-of-day close above yesterday's high, 0.043, and that would then suggest that we have enough gas in the tank to head up to 0.07 or so, which was the resistance after the gap down for the shares. But the key here, staying above that 50-day moving average. That's it from me today. More updates over the weekend.